I've got 3 words for you, and that is James bleepin' Wood.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I am your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. Of course, look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and of course, the video version over on YouTube. Again, look up Locked On Nationals, and that's where you'll find your latest Washington Nationals podcast. So later on in today's show, we'll be previewing Game 3 of this Pittsburgh Pirates-Washington Nationals series. You've got Mitchell Parker on the bump tonight, going up against another left-handed pitcher with Bailey Falter. We'll discuss that later on in today's program. In the second segment, where the Nats were right and where the Nats were wrong. It's a little bit of an early indication of where the Nationals were right this offseason and where they have been wrong. It's 2 main offensive pieces for this team. I'll give you those names and what they were right about and what they were wrong about in the second segment of the show today. But we start off discussing, as we mentioned, James bleepin' Wood. But before we jump into it, got a few messages for you guys. Tomorrow's show, it's going to be up really early in the morning. I've got an interview with Nationals legend Jason Worth. You're going to want to keep your eye out for that because, again, I've got an exclusive interview with him going about 25 minutes, and we have a lot to discuss. So it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about his new venture in horse racing, then, of course, the 2025 Nationals, and also his tenure here, and I cannot wait to ask him some questions I've never heard him ask before. So stay tuned for that on tomorrow's show. That'll be up bright and early in the morning. So keep your eye on for that and stay tuned. So you can subscribe anywhere over at Locked On Nationals. That is where you'll find that podcast. But today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. And download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So we get started today discussing one thing. And one thing only. James Wood. 445 feet, 113 miles per hour off the bat to lead off the game. What a player. Superstar. Megastar. Future billionaire. That is what we are talking about with James Wood. 6'7", freak of nature. Raw power unlike anything that we have seen here in DC. Seriously. I look back on some of these Nationals teams in past. We have had a ton of talent in the building here. Bryce Harper, mega superstar. Juan Soto, mega superstar. Max Scherzer, mega superstar. All 3 of those guys are going to be Hall of Famers. Anthony Rendon, here in DC, superstar. Trey Turner, star. You've seen it here. We have seen it here. There is nobody, and I mean nobody, with the power that James Wood has. On a 45-degree night in Pittsburgh to open up the game, James Wood goes dead center, one hop into the Allegheny River. I believe that's what it's called. One hop into the river there in center field. This is an unbelievable talent that we get to watch each and every single night. And don't even talk about free agency at this point. I know what a lot of you are thinking. We're not going to get there. Can we just appreciate what we have here? This is a special, special talent. And I think that people going into this season, look around the trend of Major League Baseball. We even have it right here in our hands. The young prospects. It takes a while for them to mature and to really kind of take steps up and do their thing overall. James Woodard is an anomaly at this point. The things that this guy is doing at a young age, at 22 years old, is unbelievable. It leaves you speechless. James Wood is blossoming into not only a star, but a superstar, some of the best hitters in baseball right now. As today goes on, I'm just stunned with what we are seeing. And I shouldn't be, because this guy has the talent to be one of the best hitters in all of baseball. But let me tell you this. I don't think that there has been anyone with the skill set that James Wood has on this team here. I don't think we've had that, or I don't think we've seen that at this point. And I don't think you will ever see that, quite frankly. The fact that this guy can get on base, has 6 home runs through the first few weeks of the season, he steals bases, he plays pretty decent defense, he's probably going to DH in 10 years from now, and that's just okay with me. Appreciate the star that we have with James Wood and the numbers that he continues to put up. Because if you look at all of his numbers overall, we are talking about one of the better players right now in the game. Seriously. That's what we are looking at today. His expected slugging on the season is in the 95th percentile. His average exit velo is in the 93rd percentile. His barrel percentage is in the 99th percentile. His hard hit percentage is in the 97th percentile. His bat speed, 92nd percentile. This is an incredible player to watch each and every single night. And yes, for all those wondering, he doesn't pull the ball. It doesn't matter. He still leads the National League in home runs today as a 22-year-old. This is just an unbelievable showing so far. He hit 9 home runs in all of 2024 in 295 at-bats. It has taken him 62 at-bats so far this season just to hit 6 home runs. His average is slightly down. His on-base percentage is up just by a tick. But the slugging, something that the Nationals so desperately needed this offseason, is up over 150 points. Or actually just around 150 points. I'm not a math guy. You get the point. This is a special, special player, and I just wanted you guys to realize that. And I watch this guy every single night, and I am in awe. Just at the star that he is. That wasn't all that happened last night. So I'm done with this James Wood talk. I'll talk about him for 30 minutes if I want to. But man, we have a special player here in DC. And of course, maybe we have some more special players, because last night is exactly what the doctor ordered. The Nationals, they needed some big time. I think they needed a big time win after dropping 3 straight games against the Marlins and then carrying on to game 1 against the Pirates. It was not a good 3-game stretch for the Nationals. Wasn't great for the starting pitchers also. But Jake Irvin, he settled in last night, took a line drive off the hip from O'Neal Cruz to begin the game. Not the prettiest way that you want to start out. He went 7 innings strong, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, only 1 walk. And also the Nats bullpen. They came in, they got it done. Let's mention this real quick, because Davey Martinez actually had a bullpen meeting yesterday. Didn't give any specifics on what was kind of being told, but he did just kind of give them the gist of the conversation, which was have fun, be positive, and I'm sure he was probably saying better days are ahead. You guys are a young group. Let's get it together. It's early on in the season, and we'll get things on the right track. But surely last night, Jose Frere, Kyle Finnegan, your 2 best arms in this bullpen, they came in, they shut the door down. You complete the shutout against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That was a big momentum swing there for the Nationals. They needed that. You needed that win in last night's bowl game. They got it done. First inning, James Wood hits that home run, and you never look back. The Nationals win 3-0. Nasim Nunez comes in a 2-run single there, which is a pretty big deal, but still, Nasim Nunez, might I just add, another multi-hit game, someone who really had a really strong spring, and we've talked about him in a lot of different categories of where he will fit, where will he be down the road. This guy is playing like a everyday major leaguer so far. And when you have a struggling Luis Garcia Jr., he's going to be the guy at second base, talking about Garcia. But Nasim Nunez, let's say these next few games that he is just on fire. And Luis Garcia Jr. continues to kind of just not do so hot. There's going to be just some discussions, I think, because Nasim Nunez has showed a ton this spring training. And again, through the first few games of this season, adding 2 multi-hit games, you got to love what you're seeing from Nasim Nunez because we know he can get it done defensively, but can he get it done offensively is the big question. And so far, he has checked off that box with another multi-RBI game. Also, Nasim Nunez, what a start to this young season, but I'd be remiss if I did not mention Jake Irvin one last time. What an unbelievable start in yesterday's ball game. And he needed that because he has not started off this season all too hot. Last year, he got off to a really hot start, but yesterday, 7 innings, shutout baseball, unbelievable performance from Jake Irvin. So seeing him in the cold weather as a Minnesota-born native, that was pretty cool to see because he was wearing short sleeves out there, which is a pretty ballsy thing to do if you think about it. In 45-degree weather with the wind ripping in your face, Jake Irvin, he was not thrown off his rocker at all. So unbelievable performance by him. And also, I do want to mention this. Paul DeJong was hit by a pitch last night. It was a really scary scene. He got hit in the face, and you hope for the best. I believe he got a CT scan last night. Hopefully all things look positive for him going forward. It was a really scary scene, but overall, hopefully Paul DeJong will be okay and gets back on track and joins the Washington Nationals in a series, hopefully pretty soon. So thinking about Paul DeJong, and of course, scary injury. You hate to see it. That's the reality of baseball, unfortunately, here. So hoping and praying for Paul DeJong there. Not a fun sight to see. But the Nationals, they got the win. And I will say it was good to see him walk off just fine yesterday. So hopefully Paul DeJong is just okay and we can go forward with that. But thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Next, let's talk about this. Where the Nationals were right and where they're wrong. I'll tell you all about that after we tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. And yes, basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. And here's what I'm picking this week. I've got Luka going for more than 28 points and Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. And if you want to go in the hockey route, you can do that also with Connor McDavid. I've always had the great one there. But I've got Connor McDavid at more than 1 goal and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. And what I love is how easy it is to set up your lineup in under just 60 seconds. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And just for a friendly reminder out there, Jason Worth, Nationals legend, will be on the show tomorrow for an exclusive one-on-one interview. You will not want to miss it. It is 25 minutes of great content. If you're a Nationals fan from the 2010s, you'll love it. If you're a baseball fan, you're also going to love it. And if you're a horse racing fan, you're also going to love it. So you'll want to hear about that on tomorrow's Locked On Nationals. But until then, where were the Nationals right and where were the Nationals wrong? And I've got this. The Nationals were right about Nathaniel Lowe. The Nationals traded for him right around Christmas. I believe it was December 23rd when the Nationals made that move. They traded away left-handed pitcher Robert Garcia. They got back first baseman, someone who's won a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove, Nathaniel Lowe. At that time, it was a head-scratching move because I was wondering, like, why are the Rangers just getting a pretty pedestrian left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen for someone who is under team control for the next 2 years and who has won a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove? I was a little skeptical because I was like, this is too good of a deal for the Nationals. Well, just turns out that I think the Nationals were absolutely right. Nathaniel Lowe, so far in this season, has been a huge get in the middle of this lineup, adding 2 hits in yesterday's game, adding a walk also. Nathaniel Lowe's numbers on the season look really, really good so far. And if you look at his overall numbers here over the last few seasons, we've kind of covered this a lot on the show here. But I was a little bit concerned overall with his numbers kind of taking a dip. His exit velo taking a pretty big dip these last few years. His slugging numbers taking a dip from when he was hitting like nearly 27 home runs just a few years ago. And that's kind of fallen off since. But so far this season for the Nationals, he has been really good. 3 home runs in his first 60 at-bats. He is batting .267 with an .836 OPS. His slugging is up nearly 80 points from last year's slug. And you're starting to see why the Nationals wanted this guy in the first place. If you look back at his time with the Rays and as well as the Rangers, what this guy has done fielding-wise has always been a big plus. Winning a Gold Glove a few years ago, like winning a Silver Slugger also, this is kind of what the Nationals needed. At 29 years old, you're seeing a very, very good ball player right now. And he is playing probably the best baseball that he has played since, I don't know, 2022 when he hit 27 home runs or something like that. And the Nationals, they need that. We went into this offseason knowing that the Nationals needed power. Nathaniel Lowe is bringing that so far. His slug is up. His average exit velo is in the 69th percentile. His barrel percentage is in the 78th percentile. Hard hit percentage, 75th percentile. And overall, his numbers are just up. And it is looking like a success so far for the Washington Nationals. So Nathaniel Lowe, the Nationals were right betting on you. You have been a treat to watch. He is a very fun, loving guy that I think a lot of Nationals fans will learn to love over this season, and that has shined in a lot of different ways. But he has been a plus on defense, and he's been a plus on offense in that middle of the order bat. So at 29 years old, I think that the Nationals will look to try to extend him eventually. We'll see if that price tag goes up as the season goes on, but still, you got to try to lock up someone, and maybe he's one of those pieces. So the Nationals, they were right about Nathaniel Lowe, and you just love to see it because we needed a first baseman desperately. Now we're the Nationals, we're wrong. And it's early, I will say. But it's looking like they're wrong on Josh Bell. Now, the intention of the move, why you make the move for Josh Bell, think to yourself, what does Josh Bell do? He's a switch-hitting bat, and he hits for power. Josh Bell has not hit for power yet. And if you look at last night's game, going 0 for 5, you've seen a lot of that this season, unfortunately, for Josh Bell. He is batting 140 on the year. He's got a 550 OPS, and so far this season only has 2 home runs, rather, with 8 RBIs. He's got 9 walks, but 15 strikeouts there also. I don't want to overreact a few weeks into the season, but I kind of like to overreact here. It's just not working. This was not what the Nationals had in mind here, obviously. Something I think we can all say here is, and I've said this a million times, and you probably have said this also. If you're a power hitter, what am I going to say? You have to hit for power. Josh Bell is not hitting for power right now, let alone he is not hitting for average, and he's not getting on base either, as his OBP is at a 269, which is by far and away his career low as of right now. But I will say this, it is really early on in this season, and Josh Bell, as we've seen, he has had slow starts before in the past, and he has picked it up as the season has gone on. But the price that the Nationals got him for really kind of shows you what the market was for Josh Bell. He's 32 years old. He's got some grays in his hair, by the way, which makes me feel old because I remember when this guy was a young pup in Major League Baseball with the Pirates and had a very bright future ahead of him. And that just, he's had a great career, but also probably hasn't met the expectations that a lot of people placed on him when he was an all-star a few years ago. But Josh Bell, it just has not worked out so far. And I think that the Nationals, what they were hoping for is that Josh Bell kind of breaks out yet again and you maybe trade him off in the deadline if you aren't in contention, which at this point doesn't seem like the Nationals will be, at least early on in the season. But with where Josh Bell is, you're probably not going to be getting a lot back for him. And that's okay because you can go into next season and Josh Bell's not going to be here, and that's just fine. But Josh Bell, it just hasn't worked out. And I feel as if that there's probably some better options out there, a younger option, number one, and someone with a little bit more upside for maybe a little bit more money, which might be the key here. But Josh Bell it hasn't worked out for the Nationals so far. So that's where they were wrong at this point in time. And let's be honest, I give Mike Rizzo a lot of credit, but I think that this with Josh Bell was a little bit of a swing and a miss. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's preview tonight's game. You've got the Pirates and the Nationals in Pittsburgh with Mitchell Parker, your stud, on the bump tonight with the Washington Nationals, supporting an ERA under 2. We'll discuss that after we tell you about our friends over at Gametime. And of course, there's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute ticket deals, all-in pricing, and lowest price guaranteed, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, tickets drop as Gametime gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as the Locked On Nationals podcast is coming up, I can count on them to help grab tickets for my Nationals needs. And I recently grabbed last-minute tickets for a game this past week, and Gametime had unbeatable prices, which meant more money for food and merchandise that I've surely bought. And I love that I can preview my exact seat before purchasing, and there's no bad surprises when I get to the stadium. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And just a friendly reminder, tomorrow, Jason Worth, Nationals legend, coming on to talk about his new venture in horse racing, as well as the 2025 Washington Nationals. He was a guest instructor for them this spring training. He's gotten to know the guys really well. We'll talk about some of the 2025 Nationals, but of course, some of his days as a Washington National. And I really want to know, actually, about Jason Worth signing with the Nationals back in 2011. What went into that? And also, for those who are interested in the Nationals, they've got a ton of Scott Boras clients. Jason Worth was a Scott Boras client. Is the behind-the-scenes picture with Boras really the way that is presented to the outside world, that he's doesn't want anyone to sign extensions? I'm going to ask him that on tomorrow's show. So if you want Mackenzie Gore or James Wood becoming a National for life, you might get some insight on someone who is close with Scott Boras. So we'll have that discussion on tomorrow's show. You'll want to stay tuned for that. But tonight, you've got the Nationals facing off against the Pittsburgh Pirates. You've got a left-handed pitcher going up against another southpaw. You've got Mitchell Parker on the bump tonight, who so far this season has looked really good. Through 3 starts, he has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. Jesus, what's going on with me today? But still, he has been great so far this season. On Friday night, got the lone win against the Miami Marlins. He gave up 3 runs in those 6 innings pitched, but overall has looked really good so far this season. He's got a 1-2 whip on this young season also. And right now, the numbers are looking good for Mitchell Parker. His first time around against the Phillies, 6 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 0 earned runs. And so far, a key number that I want to look at, 0 home runs allowed. That's pretty big for Mitchell Parker, someone who does not blow batters away. He does tend to give up some hard contact at times. That has not been the case. And he continues to look really good so far this year. So it's going to be an exciting start tonight for Mitchell Parker. You're going up against a pretty lousy lineup with the Pittsburgh Pirates. As we saw last night, it was not a good lineup for the Pirates. Like, it was a pretty poor lineup for a major league team. So you can beat up on this team. And the way that Mitchell Parker has been going so far, I expect him to. You have some lefties in there with O'Neal Cruz. I think he could take advantage of that, and maybe the Nationals find some luck here with Mitchell Parker, because again, this guy is a machine right now in the season. And the way that he has been going, maybe Mitchell Parker is just one of those guys where he's going to carve his way out and find some innings, and he's going to eat up a lot of it, because so far in his first 3 starts, he has gone at least 6 innings pitched. And for a bad bullpen right now with where they are, that is what you want. You need starting pitchers to eat up innings. And Mitchell Parker, he has certainly been a help in that cause. So hopefully the Nationals go for win number 2 tonight. And then on tomorrow's day game, 12:30 first pitch, maybe, just maybe, you try to win the series and win the last 3 games here. If you can win tonight, you certainly hope that's the case for the Nationals, because they need some wins. It's not going to come easy. You're going to Colorado next, and we'll see what the Nationals can ultimately do. But I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.